Hey, everybody, welcome in. Very, very, very excited about this. It is the first ever podcast for the Renegade Lemonade Company. Alex and Brady are the founders, and I can't be more excited because the smiles on your face, they represent what lemons do when you taste them.
Thanks for having us on, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hey, this is your podcast. I'm just here
Right.
to help tell your story. That's what we're doing. Brady and Alex, a married couple, starting one of the most interesting, innovative, and tasteful and tasty beverages that you will find. It's Renegade Lemonade. Before we get into the taste and how you made it and everything that goes into your company, how did you guys meet?
You want to start with that, Alex?
Well, we are both proud graduates of Florida State University, and we met in 2014. We were introduced by mutual friends that knew we were both graduates, and we actually lived in the same neighborhood, didn't know it, and we were introduced, and then the rest was history.
Well, I think there might have been a little bit more to that, Brady. What do you think?
Yeah. She failed to mention that one of her requirements was that they be either a Florida State fan or a graduate of Florida State. So, a little bit more than they knew we were fans. It was one of her requirements.
And I was looking for someone that looked like George Clooney.
Meets all the requirements, right?
That's what I thought.
Every single one. And I think that George is a wine drinker. So, there's a little bit of that. So you guys meet. Brady has the requirements.
Yeah.
He's a graduate. He looks like Clooney. Did you know that he was a wine guy?
I knew that he loved to drink wine, but I didn't know he could make this amazing wine that we created together.
All right. Before we get into how he made it, Love and Lemons, they both start with L. You met in 2014. How did you fall in love?
Well, she's just such an amazing person. How could you not fall in love with this? And it was just, it was meant to be.
It really was.
And, she was just incredible from the very beginning. And after a few months, I knew she was the one.
So which came first, the love or the lemons?
Definitely the love.
Yeah, the love.
The love is always there, and the love is behind the lemons. So that's what makes our story so fascinating.
So let's just jump right into it. How do we turn lemons into wine? Because let's face it, grapes make wine. Lemons?
Well, that's what people think, that if it's not grapes, it's not wine. So we're putting the spin on that.
Yeah. And technically, it's what's called a country wine. So it's as much of a wine as a grape wine, but certainly just a different type of wine. And we think fantastic.
Well, I've tasted it. I know it's fantastic. I want to know, how do you come up with this idea, Brady? Because, like I said, grapes, wine, lemons,
Yeah. Well, as you get more mature, and you may know this, you start looking for hobbies that you can do. And I tried a variety of them, and one was winemaking. I bought some equipment off of Craigslist. It came with some recipe books. I didn't use those recipe books. I bought kits off of Amazon and made some whites and reds. My whites were okay. My reds left something to be desired. And so I put it back in the basement. And then over COVID, I was bored and had some extra time, like most of us. And I fished out the recipe books that I never looked at. There was one recipe book from the 1970s that had all these obscure recipes in it. And one was a lemon wine. I grew up in Southern California. My grandfather had a big lemon tree in his backyard in San Diego, and just nostalgically reminded me of him. So I'm like, I'll make it. I like lemons. Everybody likes lemons. So I made it, and it turned out, and it wasn't half bad. But out of college, I managed a gourmet restaurant and trained a little bit as a chef, and I knew I could make it better. So I started experimenting with the amount of lemon juice, the types of lemons, the yeast, the water, everything about it. Made all different recipes that I could find on the internet. And after 30 batches, I came up with this creation where friends, families, and others are saying, wow, oh my God, or I love it. And when you hear that, it's just very unusual. And we knew we had something incredible.
I think I saw a video from an event that you had done. And I think, did somebody say this is dangerously good?
Yep.
I love that. I thought that was fantastic. So, Alex, he's making all of these batches. It takes 30. When did your face go from that face that you made as a kid when you sucked on a lemon to, wow, this is amazing?
I'll be honest. My former career was a college professor before I retired to do Renegade Lemonade. So his winemaking coincided perfectly with my previous profession because I really needed the wine in order to grade.
I love that. That's fantastic. So you get to the 30th batch. You have the recipe down pat. Now what?
Now we have to find a way to get it out to the market.
Yeah, and so that was a way my career for the past 20 years was in technology outsourcing. And there were all these vineyards popping up around us, and they're cyclical. They get in their grapes, they process their grapes, and they don't have, things to do a lot of times after that, as far as processing their grapes. So I told Alex, that we need to look at some of these local vineyards, see if one of them would be interesting in making the wine for us. And a little while later in her class, she did an intro speech, and one of the girls gets up and said, my dad's opening a vineyard in Dallas, Georgia.
Which is where we live.
So we reached out to him with a bottle of wine and with a note that, hey, if you like it, if you have excess capacity, give me a call. And he called that night and said, love the wine. I have some excess capacity. And oh, by the way, from your voicemail, we both work for the same company. So it was like one of those match made in heaven. I learned a lot because I thought he was going to produce it for me. But with the laws, it wouldn't work out. So what we decided is that he was going to make it at his vineyard and sell it at his vineyard to see how it would work, how people would react to a lemon wine. And we did that, and we built out enough capacity or enough inventory for 3 months based on his best weekend ever, and we sold out in 3 weeks.
And this was
incredible.
This was in the summer of 2021.
Yeah. So that's how we brought it to market and really knew that we had something.
All right. Now, I got to ask this question. I think I know the answer, but you know what they say about assuming. Yeah. Why Renegade?
Why not? I mean, people love something that tastes fantastic. Everybody loves lemonade. This is an adult, sophisticated lemonade. I mean, it's light, it's refreshing, it's got a perfect balance of tart and sweet, and it's extremely versatile.
And don't forget that we're turning lemons into wine. We're renegades. We're not making grape wine. We're making lemon wine.
Yeah.
So it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that, I don't know, you guys hung out in Tallahassee for a little bit, did the tomahawk chop, hung out with Osceola.
Yeah. Well, we also, so it was something that we crowdsourced the name. What are we going to name this wine? And one of them was Renegade Lemonade. And the Renegade at the time was after our dog, who's a mini golden doodle. And initially we had his picture on the label. But one, it was something that we bought and we couldn't use on a label. And two, when you look at a bottle of wine and it has a dog on it, do you know what you're drinking? So we moved to our current label, but we made sure to, pay respects to Florida State. We've got the gold and the, Renegade Lemonade. Around the edges is Garnet and Gold Plus Renegade, who, for those that don't know, is the horse that Chief Osceola rides out to the middle of the field and plants the spear in the ground. So it has multiple contexts, but that's the one that's near and dear to us.
Well, folks, Renegade Lemonade is incredibly tasty. It is very, very refreshing. If you've never even thought about lemon wine, and I mean, let's be honest, not many people have, you have to get yourself a bottle and enjoy it. The summer is coming up. Alex and Brady are two of the finest people around. This brand is going to be so exciting. And I know that what we're going to do with this podcast over the coming weeks and months and years is going to be a lot of fun. Folks, there are recipes down the road. There are stories to be told. There is so much going on with Renegade Lemonade, and we're going to help tell their story. So don't miss an episode. Every time you know that there's a new one, tune into it and get yourself a bottle of Renegade. And if the folks want to be in touch with you, how do they get in touch? How do they get involved? How do they learn more about Renegade Lemonade?
Well, they could follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at Renegade Hard Lemonade. We're also on Facebook at Renegade Hard Lemonade. We're also on Twitter. We're also on TikTok. And of course, our website is www.renegadehardlemonade.com.
All right, Alex, Brady, thanks so much. You guys are fantastic. The smiles on your face just tell everything about love and lemons. And you got the names on the back. What's that, Alex?
You said it says everything about love and lemons, but don't forget Florida State.
You guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely awesome. We'll see you next time. Making love with lemonades.